So I'll try to talk about it more in depth in this video. I got cut off. So like, let's just call them jewels, right? The kind of main slot. Like on the ornament for every character has like their own ornament, and at the very top is like a slot for a quote unquote special sepith. Let's just call it a special sepith, because I think that sepith is the name of the quite literal jewels that make up the ornament itself. So I took the main sepith that was on Reen, who was a character that you play in the demo, and kind of Van's counterpart. And Van is now holding that. Reen is now holding the one that was on the character with the eye patch. The kind of older guy with the eye patch, who's kind of like Van's sensei. I think he actually calls him his sensei. He had one equipped on him, and it started with a G, but basically Reen is now holding that. And when I get to playing with Reen in the story, he'll be alternating between the one that the sepith jewel that the character with the eye patch had by default, and basically there's like three that Reen is going to probably be able to alternate between, because Van is using the one that Reen had equipped. Reen is now holding the one that the character with the eye patch had equipped by default, and then that leaves kind of two in limbo, which is one that I picked up, the only one that I picked up in the game thus far, that it's called Mare, M-A-R-E. The one that Van had equipped at the beginning of the game, which is the second one, and then that's really about it. So, the long and short of it is Van is now holding the one Reen had. Reen is now holding the one that the character with the eye patch had, and then the character with the eye patch is now holding the one that Van starts the game out with. So that really only leaves the one that I picked up called Mare, and then the one that I don't know. I'll have to see. That'll make for an interesting video. I might do that one day in the future. I don't know if it'll be anytime this month, in the month of April. But when things settle down for me, maybe I can take out my Nintendo Switch and just quite literally go over, everyone's kind of ornament settings, and then but all I know is earlier tonight I took Reen's default kind of main sepith jewel off and put it on Van. Van is now holding that. Reen is now holding the one that the character with the eye patch had by default. And then the character with the eye patch is now holding the one that Van had by default. So that only really leaves the one that I picked up. The only one that I picked up in the game, that's called Mare. That's kind of like the only one that's floating in limbo now. But with that said, you can still take certain ones off other characters and move them around how you see fit. The only real change that I made earlier tonight was, Van is now holding Reen's, and Reen is now holding the character with the eye patches one. Van's sensei, I forgot his name, but he, Reen is now holding his kind of main ornament jewel or sepith, and then that leaves the Mare one. But if I start playing with Reen, and that Mare one is still floating in limbo, which is technically one, even in the description, that says is kind of made by Marduk, which is a company in that game for Van. If it's still around, I have a feeling that's going to be the one that Reem is going to be using for the most part, which, assuming I don't pick up any more, that just leaves the one that the character with the eye patch had as the one that's kind of floating around in limbo. But I'm really content with everything that I've got. The Grim Gartan is so much fun, and considering that I did like a ton of leveling in the Blacklight district just by way of like respawning the enemies at that kind of fountain where you can like do that and rest and buy items or weapons and upgrade weapons. It's kind of like a one-stop shop that is that you can find sometimes throughout the story, like certain side quests or part of the main story when you're actually in the RPG side of Trails Beyond the Horizon. You will find those fountains, and they're really helpful because you can recover health and rest there, respawn enemies if you just want to replay through a level. You can buy items, upgrade your weapons there, play with the orbiment there. So I did that a lot earlier in the Blacklight district as part of the main story, just because I was getting kind of towards the end of my run there. Got a little bit difficult, so that's when I started playing with the orbiment, just so I could see how to get stronger in addition to leveling up after that. And it really helped out, and it kind of culminated in what happened earlier tonight. So I tried to catch as much as I could by way of just like, quite literally recording it, but I'm not sure what got picked up, but every time I do anything on my Nintendo Switch, I try my best to stay within that 30-second time limit that I have in my head whilst playing and doing stuff like showcasing builds. For Fantasian, obviously, I kind of took it to the community post on my first channel just so people could kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together that way when it came to that game. But it's a lot more difficult in a game like Trails Beyond the Horizon. But just to kind of give you some insight as to how much fun I had earlier tonight playing with that whole kind of mechanic. I was kind of looking up if that game had a New Game Plus, because, when you discover things like that and considering how much fun the game is in general, it really kind of makes the New Game Plus run really appealing. And I really haven't gotten to play like a New Game Plus on YouTube. So if Pokemon Eternal Emerald turns out to be kind of like a full-length Pokemon game, and I get done with Trails Beyond the Horizon and Fantasian to a lesser extent in a timely manner, if I could beat Pokemon Eternal Emerald on YouTube and also kind of take people along with me in a New Game Plus run in Fantasian and Trails Beyond the Horizon, I will be very happy. I think that's something that will be very doable, especially when I do pick back up playing with Gundam